Hey everyone, Felix from Nintendo Life here. And yes, we just got a new gameplay demonstration a week ago. We're a bit late, but we still wanted to talk about this, and you can hear Alex grinning in the background. Yes, I'm also joined by the man himself, Alex Olney.
You can hear me grinning. It's a flavor sensation.
And Alex, we finally have a hook for Tears of the Kingdom.
Yes, we do. And that is, well, it seems to be a theme throughout the whole thing, frankly, now. Combination.
Yeah, fusing together elements. Like when we witnessed Aonuma putting together the stick with the boulder, that was history right there. Like that was just, it was so insane. I literally gasped out loud. I was like,
I think I furrowed my brow. Not in a bad way, I hasten to point out. Not in a bad way, but just slightly less dramatic response.
But it's just so cool to see all the different... I mean, we saw 4 different abilities that Link has in this game, and it's Fuse, it's the Ultra Hand, it's the Ascend feature, and it's Rewind. All really different from what we saw in Breath of the Wild, and it's just going to change the game so much.
Yeah, the interesting thing about the final one you mentioned is that it's actually called Recall.
Okay.
It's not a translation thing, I don't think. And it may be that Rewind felt a little bit too sort of like modern and technological. Or it could be that it's got more application than they're letting on, because just making objects go backwards is, well, I mean, it's not a narrow, it's not a narrow field per se. But the fact that it's recall, I don't know, that kind of feels like a broader term to me. So I think there's more to that than they've shown.
I think there's more to a lot of things that they've shown.
Oh, absolutely.
And maybe we'll even have more abilities. Like, this was only 4, maybe there's 5, 6, we don't know. But just the Fuse and Ultra Hand mechanic, those two are just... so many different combinations that you have to have with all the different items. Everything is now going to have a purpose, and it's just, yes, it's what we've been waiting for. Is that, okay, now I get why, you know, this has to be like a new game and all that stuff, and oh, my mind's just exploding with all the different possibilities.
I've seen some people say things along the lines of, oh, is this really all it is? This could have just been DLC. And I mean, for one thing, they have no, you know, with the deepest respect, I have no idea how to make a game. Clearly, these people have even less of an idea, because there is so much that is fundamentally different. People just say, but it's the same map. And it's like, yeah, but all of Link's abilities appear to have changed. And they're introducing, I mean, we had the chemistry system in the first Breath of the Wild, you know what I mean? We had the chemistry system, and that was rudimentary, but incredibly consistent. And if they're applying that same notion, which I'm going to assume they are, to what we see here, sweet baby rays, I can understand why it took this game so long to get developed, because if you give people that much freedom, you need to make sure that there isn't like, hey, you can combine, you know, like a Keese eyeball with a branch and have it not break the game. You know, there is so much that goes in to these kind of like sandbox style systems that I think a lot of people maybe not so much overlook, but don't fully appreciate.
And yeah, just the amount of coding. Paul mentioned this the other day, but the recall thing, like just making that to work, and it's just, there's endless possibilities, and they have to make sure that, you know, like you say, it doesn't break the game, but also that it isn't too overpowered. Obviously, there's going to be some stuff that's more overpowered than others, but the balancing and just making everything work in this game, that's what has taken so long, I presume.
Oh, there's definitely going to be an element of that, because you don't want to be able to allow players to pick up a branch, combine it with a boulder, as we saw, and then just, you know, be able to level enemies. That's not fun, you know? It's bound to come with either some drawbacks, or it's gonna be that, oh yeah, this is powerful to begin with, but, you know, later down the line, yeah, it's useful in a pinch if you need a weapon, and it's going to be better than a tree branch, and it's going to make tree branches useful again. but at the same time, I can't imagine you're going to be taking on a Lionel with them. Hasten to point out, we haven't seen a Lionel yet.
No.
And I'm not saying for a moment that means there are no Lionels. I'm thinking, what have they done to Lionels?
Oh my god. Lionels
to mean
are
they're
already...
not showing them.
They're so overpowered. They're just really, really strong. I feel like that's the strongest enemy in the game.
Oh, yeah, they're harder. Like, a gold Lionel is harder than Calamity Ganon, you
Exactly.
know? It's not... let's not split hairs about it. They are that tough. And given the fact that, I mean, we've looked at, you know, sort of like Link and his abilities. It's all about combination, fusing, and that sort of thing. But I actually looked over some of the previous trailers as well, and we see even more of that. It's something that I'd completely forgotten about. We see Bokoblins riding a Stone Talus. That's combination.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, it's combination. It's things coming together, and in a way, this is pure speculation. But the Zonai are like magic users. It's like it's all in creating a champion. Look it up, guys. They're all magic users. It's all about magic and things like that. But also we're seeing a lot of technology which appears to be Zonai. So I can only assume the technology that we're seeing is kind of maybe half Sheikah, half Zonai. Or maybe there's something else going on there. Either way, it's clearly combining magic and technology. So that's a theme that I feel is running throughout the whole thing. And I'm really curious to see where else it turns up.
Just to go back to the fuse element, either there's going to be a lot of items that has similar effects. You know, maybe you have like 5 elements that just turn out to be essentially the same thing. But if it's not, and all the things that they showcased was vastly different usages of this fuse mechanic. So it's just, that's like thousands of different combinations that they have to think about. That's insane.
It is ludicrous.
When you start to combine literally everything with everything, it just spirals out of control.
I mean, I'm certain there's gonna have to be some sort of limit. I mean, there's a part of me that doesn't want there to be a limit, but what's stopping you from just combining log with log, 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 like just in a long line, picking it up and using it as a ramp to get up to a sky island.
Do you think once you've fused anything together that you can't fuse it again? Because that would just complicate things even more, don't you think?
I imagine there has to be some sort of limitation because in the trailer at 6:52, you can see Link trying to, well, he highlighted a rock and he ends up fusing it to his old wooden shield. But he has the option to also fuse it to the log club. But the thing is that the log club has kind of like that sort of teal aura around it. And that sort of suggests to me that either it's sort of saying, hey, this is already a fused item, you can fuse, but you'll be replacing something. Or it's like saying, it's already been fused, you've got one more slot, and then that's it. But if you can even fuse twice, that is like an exponential increase in what you can do. If that's the case, I hate to think what people are going to make.
I think you definitely are correct there that I hadn't actually seen that there was the teal thing around the log club there.
I'd only just seen it myself.
Yeah, well
I'm not
spotted.
Gonna lie.
And I think that just means that you're replacing the log, so it makes a rock club instead, or something like that. I think that would be much more reasonable, and it wouldn't drive the developers insane.
Yeah, there has to be a limit as much as anything. I think if you could combine... I mean, maybe if you could combine 3 things, and that would be the limit. I could see that just about working, but being held together by, like, spaghetti code. I say that like I have any idea how I would even begin to code anything. But at the same time, the fact that you can even combine 2 things is crackers. Like, it opens up so much in terms of gameplay opportunity. Like, you can see in that same still that I was mentioning, you can see that, hey, Link's trying to fuse he fuses an old wooden shield with a rock, but he could also fuse it with a sail. What's that? Like, the sail's highlighted as well. Does it mean every time you shield bash or parry, whatever it is, like you cause a gust of wind? Is that a thing?
Oh my god, I didn't even realize that.
I mean, it opens up so many gameplay opportunities. And I've seen some people say, oh, I don't think I'm going to be experimenting too much. Like, everyone wasn't losing their collective minds when, you know, Breath of the Wild was first revealed and people realized that you could use stasis to launch yourself using a boulder, like, you know, a really quite a considerable distance. And then it turned out that if you did it with a log, you could actually get off like the Great Plateau and stuff like that. Like, I mean, that was a lot later on, but it just shows that even with the what is comparatively Breath of the Wild's extremely limited toolset, it managed to capture the imaginations of so many people and allow so many mad things to happen. This is just like, you know, you've been given a toy, you go, there you go, and you're having fun with the toy, and then they go, okay, and they just tip the entire toy box on top of you. Like, it's outlandish.
Just, if it was just the fuse ability, that would already open up so many doors. But we also have another significant ability, which is the Ultra Hand, which now you can craft your own vehicles. Oh, my mind.
I must admit, when I first saw the vehicles being shown in a previous trailer, I was a bit like, you know, I was not 100% sold with the idea of, like, controlling it. But after seeing this now and showing that you have control, but it's limited, and maybe the, like, the steering platform that we see on, like, the, well, on the what is essentially a car, if that is, like, you know, only going to be used in certain instances. Aonuma did say that it won't be available in the game to begin with or immediately. I can actually see the quote-unquote vehicle building system working really well with its own limitations, because limitations ironically breed creativity. And if you were just able to just, like, make a car out of, you know, logs and those fan things and rocks for wheels or something, that would just get a bit tiring, I think. But if it is, as it seems to be, yeah, you can fuse stuff together and you can have fun with it, and it's just playing around with the physics of the game in the same kind of vein as the chemistry engine, I am so down for that.
Imagine all the different creations we'll see, like on Twitter, on Reddit, like someone will just have built the most amazing thing, and I'm just gonna be here with 2 logs and a propeller, and I'm gonna be happy with that. I'm just...
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait, Alex. I'm so hyped for Tears of the Kingdom. I made a whole video about like how I got hyped again, and sure, that was working, but just watching this demonstration, this is what you should do, everyone. Just watch this and just think of all the possibilities you'll have. And I was really glad to see the battery icon. That, like you say, limitation is key, because if you didn't have limitations, you could just fly everywhere, could drive everywhere, but with this, you have to use it in certain environments. Like here, you use it to cross the lake, where, like, what's gonna happen? Do you just not have the old abilities, like with ice? Because when I saw the lake, I thought, oh, I'll use the ice function and just cross it like that. But
I suspect they're not, that Link can't use them.
Yeah.
To be brutally honest, because, well, for a number of reasons, we don't see them mention it. It would be an obvious solution, as you say, to getting across the river, and that kind of feels like a slightly roundabout way of them going, oh no, how do we get across this river? And everyone's going Cryonis, and they go, there's no Cryonis anymore. Maybe not quite in that tone, but also we see Link does not have the Sheikah Slate. Like, that's... You know, that's hard. And you look at that, Link does not have the Sheikah Slate. And our editor, Gav, is absolutely convinced that because we see Zelda with the Sheikah Slate, Zelda is playable and Zelda has all the old abilities, which would absolutely be fantastic. I'm not completely convinced, but let's just say I'd love it if that were true.
I actually really like that you don't have the old abilities, because you'll need to learn new ways of traversing. We've grown used to how you can traverse with all the different abilities, and I really like them, but it's time for something new, and it's just going to be really cool to also... We haven't really talked about this one, but Ascend, I don't think it's going to be as big, but it's really cool that you'll be able to go into a cave and then just go through the mountain. Oh, that animation of him just swimming through. Ooh-wee.
Ooh-wee. I think it's going to be bigger than you think.
Yeah?
It definitely seems arguably more limited compared to the other abilities that we've seen, like the Ultra Hand, which incidentally is a reference to an old Nintendo toy before they made video games. That's fun. But I do think that there are going to be numerous instances where you need to use Ascend in interesting ways. I can't necessarily like give you an example just yet, but one of the biggest sort of like irritations I had with certain things like certain like Bokoblin outposts, well, not even necessarily Bokoblin, but enemy outposts, is the fact that you often couldn't get up on top, and that forced you to be creative, absolutely. And yeah, you know, that you could argue that Ascend would take away from that, but I think it gives you just a very direct option. Like, you know, yeah, you can just swim through the floor, but hey, guess what? Now you're amongst a load of Bokoblins and you got to try and defend yourself. It's an option, and it may not be the best one, but also it looks like we're not going to have bombs anymore. Or if we do, maybe it's like it's a weapon rather than infinite bombs, which, you know, I don't want to say was overpowered because I don't think it was, but let's be honest, if anyone did Trial of the Sword, they used bombs all the time because it was free damage.
And just thinking about, imagine how much work also was needed for this not to break the game. Like, what if you go up and you are inside a tree? Do they just don't have anything, the places that you're supposed to go up? And how far can you go up? That's also what's going to depend on how useful this is, because it was a long way Link was going up through that mountain in the cave.
Yeah. And I think what's even more interesting is that on the face of it, you sort of go, oh, but that's going to make X really easy, or that's going to make Y tedious. But I think, if anything, it kind of highlights that we're going to have to be facing different challenges in order to make it so that these abilities aren't overpowered. You know, using them in interesting ways, but also providing puzzles and challenges that mean that Ascend, for example, is not that useful. You know, you've got to use other things at your disposal, and Ascend is useful, but not the be-all and end-all.
Yeah, definitely. And it was not an ability, but they also showcased the skydiving section, which was seamless.
Oh,
ooh,
yeah.
It just looks...
Anyone who had the Master Cycle Zero, certainly in the earlier days, will know that the loading time, like the game sort of stuttering, I don't think it does it as much anymore with updates and patches and things like that. But certainly when the Master Cycle Zero was first available, yeah, you would often reach instances where the game would just stop because it had to load some more. Haven't seen a bit of that, which is really impressive. I have seen some slowdown in certain instances, which I hope is ironed out. I know that, you know, some people may be going and saying, but they said development's finished. And it's like, yeah, development's finished, but, you know, sort of optimization, patches, they can all come afterwards. They may be working on them now. So I hope that they are going to improve that. But at the same time, I'm thoroughly impressed with what I've seen.
The fact that it just works. There's no load times. You just drop down, and admittedly, it'll be really annoying if an enemy knocks you off that Sky Island and you have to get back somehow.
Yeah.
But it's also just, oh, okay, that's it. I'm off the platform now. What am I gonna do? It's gonna be like, oh, you see something. Oh, I'm gonna go there. Oh no, I've been. Like, you're not gonna get anything done in this game.
Yeah. It's going to be the best, or at least, well, I'd say the best, that's not fair, but the games that really hook me and engage me the most are the games where you just sort of go, well, I'll just do this. Well, I'll just do that. You know, you got to go to bed or something. Well, I say got to. You feel you ought to go to bed. And, you know, you sort of go, I'll just do a bit of this. I'll just do that. Yeah. I know I said I'd just do that, but I'm just going to do this little bit extra. And before you know it, you've been up for another 2 hours.
I'm with you there. It's the best kind of games.
They're fantastic. And sometimes they can absolutely take over your life. But frankly, with what I've seen with Tears of the Kingdom, sign me up. Take over my life, buddy boy.
I've taken the whole weekend off to just play Tears of the Kingdom. My dad was like, hey, can we do something then? I'm like, I'm sorry, Tears of the Kingdom's coming out. I need the whole weekend just to play Tears of the Kingdom. And
it's work, Dad.
I mean, it is. So what can I say?
It is.
Also, that this is just like, he says there's so much stuff that we haven't seen so far. This is just, well, it is a substantial amount, like we're seeing the mechanics and stuff, but there's gonna be stuff we don't know. New, like, just the way you create vehicles. We don't know a lot to what extent that will be, and how you use these abilities, how massive will all this be, and it's just...
I feel like we've been... When I first saw it, I was a bit sort of like, okay, and moved on, but now that I've had a bit more time to digest it and properly, like, well, digest it, take it all in and really think about what I've seen. It's bafflingly engaging and enticing, and I just want to play it.
A bit over a month. Hang in there, Alex. We'll get there. But yeah, we have a hook for Tears of the Kingdom, and we are very, very excited. Let us know what you think of the abilities down in the comments below, and also check out our new Discord server. Ooh-wee. And of course, also our website, nintendolife.com. Stay safe, play some Breath of the Wild while we wait for Tears of the Kingdom, and we'll see you in the next one. Felix and Alex from Nintendo Life, out.